A long time ago, I read a book called The Incredible Voyage by Tristan Jones. It told of Jones's attempt to break the record for greatest vertical distance traveled in a sailboat by sailing both the lowest and the highest navigable bodies of water in the world, the Dead Sea and Lake Titicaca, high in the Andes. But Jones, it turns out, is a bit of an unreliable narrator, so the actual truth of his voyage is a little blurry. Nonetheless, the idea fascinates me. It seems so improbable, even impossible, to use a sailboat to travel vertically. We had a small taste of sailing vertically when we traversed Europe via canals and rivers, where locks moved us up and down through the continent. But now, on the wild Canadian coastline, we will experience vertical sailing in a different way.
Whoa, look at that. It just goes straight up.
So, like characters in a Jules Verne novel, off we go. The excited but apprehensive travelers on a voyage 20,000 leagues above the sea. We're on our way north. On board our Cape George cutter 36 is my husband Aladino and myself, Maya. After a 5-year complete refit to our boat, we are finally out sailing, about to explore one of the most wild and beautiful coastlines on Earth. Join us for the Northern Voyage. This is Knight Inlet. All along the BC coastline, there are inlets which cut into the coastal mountain range, but few travel as far inland as Knight Inlet. This narrow passageway takes the well-prepared sailor nearly 125 kilometers inland, weaving between mountains deep into unfamiliar territory for an ocean-going ship. Depth sounders stop working in mineral-rich glacial runoff. Weather forecasts are meaningless as the mountains create and shape the winds. Cell signal and VHF signals are all blocked by the great walls of granite, and anchoring on ledges which plummet straight downwards can quickly turn a dangerous game when the winds shift unexpectedly, as the winds are known to do. And yet, of course, we still want to go, drawn perhaps by the oddity of it all, to be amongst the Alpine, while floating on the sea. We've researched the risks, we've prepared the boat, and now we will sail down the inlet. The journey begins in Glendale Cove, partway down the inlet. We sailed here last week and became transfixed by the bears which inhabit the estuary. After a fairly spectacular bear encounter in the last episode, we stuck around for a few more days and we were rewarded again. But as special as Glendale is, as transfixing as these bears are, we knew we had to leave eventually, to head deeper into the mountains. Good morning, Aladino.
Good morning.
How did you sleep?
Not the best. It was pretty rocky. It's so hard to predict weather in these inlets because there's the inflows, there's the outflows, which theoretically should blow in pretty consistent ways. But yeah, it's been different. Yesterday died overnight, had some of the best sleep ever, but not so tonight. Anyway, we are going on a reconnaissance voyage.
So there are some anchoring opportunities up there, but the winds were really going for it last night. And the anchoring opportunities further up the inlet are not as secure as up here. Like this is quite a good anchorage, tons of room to swing.
Totally. That's why it is earlier in the morning than usual,
Yeah.
because distances aren't too crazy. So if it doesn't work, we can always fall back here. And yeah, here we have uncomfortable nights, but it's a really good anchorage.
It's safe.
Yeah, exactly. Let's pick up anchor and see what the day brings.
I just spoke out in the will inform you guys.
So the interesting thing about the shape of this inlet is from the entrance of the inlet to here, Glendale Cove, is just kind of one straight shot. And so fetch can really build up. The wind behaves in a more predictable way for an inlet. And so, when we came down here, we had wind on our back the entire time, waves kept building, it all made sense. As we go further up the inlet, it starts to curve quite a bit, and those curves completely affect the wind. So we're going to expect, we'll round some corners and the wind will completely die, or it will change direction entirely, or it will pipe up considerably. We've just got to kind of be ready for anything. I'll be honest that I am a little bit on edge about this. Obviously, keeping ourselves in the boat safe is like the biggest priority. And we're heading into a spot where the winds are not very predictable. As we saw last night, they can be really strong. And going forward now, the anchoring is not going to be as easy. So I'm really glad that we have the entire day in front of us. I'm really glad that we have a good strong engine should we need it.
So yeah, like you said, there is a pretty harsh, almost 90 straight north. And we've just tucked around the corner, and indeed the winds have died down.
The sun is breaking over.
Yeah! Win! It's looking amazing.
I wasn't expecting sunlight.
No, me neither. And how the water color changes when the sun hits this water. It turns milky blue. Wow, this is like glacial outflow water.
Yeah, well there are glaciers.
Of course, yeah. Wow. So changing from forested to just like alpine rocks where we're just in such high altitude where trees don't grow anymore. Yeah.
It is funny. You do want to ask like what altitude are we at?
Yeah, yeah. It just feels like you're going up and up and up and up.
When we traveled through hundreds of locks in Europe, we did actually change our elevation, but it never really felt like it. Here, instead, sea level will remain sea level, but our feeling of altitude will increase exponentially. In fact, we'll be sailing in the shadow of Mount Waddington, BC's tallest mountain. How stunning is this? I actually cannot believe it. Absolutely insane.
The magic spell of the inlet drawing you in. Oh look, there's another bend. I wonder what's behind that one. Oh, there's another one. Let's go see. With nice downwind winds pushing you. Will we regret it on the way back? Yeah, we gotta pick a really calm morning. Good we have time. Good we have time.
Soon they were in sight, the Spire Peaks, one of the inlet's landmarks. The sharp peaks twisted themselves into the soft clouds.
Oh, I got scared of heights here just by looking at them. Whoa, this is really, really, wow, impressive. And that one sharp little rock over there, what a thing. And the new challenge. Our depth sounder has a hard time reading depth in this glacial water. It's saying 5 meters everywhere, which it's definitely not. We're in about 100, I would guess. So we'll have to resort to another method. Good, my reel has a counter, so I'll drop the reel and see what the depth actually is.
Fishing for the bottom, Aladino?
For a fish. No excuse, no. 50 feet, 60 feet, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190. Oh my god. 200. That's close to all of our chain. 220. 240. 250. That's how much chain we have. 260. Oh, they say it's a copy of what you see above water. So yeah. It might just go down 1,000 feet here.
As it is high.
Oh, 300. Yeah, the deeper I am, the harder it is to read the lure. But I think it touched down around 300 feet. We'd have to sneak up very close. 300 is a little too much.
Well, we're definitely not anchoring here, that's for sure. so stressful.
Ah,
You got it. Amazing, Aladino.
yay!
No, it's always nice when that thing's back.
It's so stressful. If it wasn't for the swell, we could just side tie onto these steep walls here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good gust.
Well, yeah, it's hitting the wall and bouncing back.
The wind blew up quickly, accelerating past the rock cliffs.
Really gotta find a hook for the night slowly, but the wind is just increasing. The tuck behind here looks promising because I can see that it tucks in, so that should make it a bit of a bay. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Sure enough, as we rounded the next corner, we found calmer water. A beach is a very promising sign for anchoring. The sheer cliffs which line the inlet plummet straight downwards and don't provide anywhere for an anchor to catch. But a beach is generally accompanied by a more gradual slope down into the water, which means our anchor may find bottom.
Not bad for an inlet. We've anchored in 25 meters, let out a 3-to-1 scope, but that puts us a little close to the beach, and we only have 5 meters below us. Now, it is the lowest the tide is gonna get, but if the holding isn't great with some strong gusts, I don't wanna creep too close to the beach. So I think we're gonna reset, set it a little deeper, a little further away, let out a little, well, similar scope to whatever depth we're in so that we have a little more distance to the beach.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think that's cautious.
Yeah.
And the winds again. Unfortunately, they seem to wrap around the corner and they're in our face again, whereas they should be going past us. Chickening out and just trying to go back isn't an option either. The inflows build as the sun heats up. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. Okay, we've reset a little deeper, let out all the chain, and I'm a lot happier with the distance that we have now. I also properly reversed. It always depends on the conditions, to what RPM you want to reverse to set the anchor. So we definitely did it a little more, see how far it pulls, and now we're swinging back out. So yeah, happy with this set.
Our friends Allison and James pulled up just shortly after us, and they decided to stern tie, allowing them to tuck a little closer to shore.
All this way just to be back in Switzerland.
What a day, and what an end to the day. We are sitting here on this absolutely stunning beach, surrounded by these mountains, which are, it's hard to believe it. It feels like we're in an alpine lake. It's crazy to think that this is connected to the ocean and therefore to the rest of the world, as we sit here surrounded by mountains. It's a really, really special place, and you were just talking a little bit about some of the history around here, James, because as you said, we're not the first to sit on this beach.
We're certainly not the first ones to sit on this beach. We were sitting on the beach back in April when we came up here on our reconnaissance mission. But before then, people have lived up and down this inlet for like many, 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 many years. And it's really cool. Like I remember reading in like one of Billy Proctor's books, he was telling stories about, you know, scavenging along the beaches and looking for things. And he was saying in one of his stories that just in the mouth of the river around the corner here, there used to be a small, like, native village back in the day. And that after it was abandoned, they would come and, like, you know, still walk along the beaches and explore. And they would find Spanish cannonballs sitting there on the beach. And it's really cool to sit here and reflect in such the grandiosity of the inlet and think of all the collective stories and human experiences and, you know, the amount of people who have sat here and gazed at the mountains and appreciated them over the years. And I don't know, it's just like super humbling. Yeah, just makes you feel small in such a big place.
Beautiful said.
Thanks.
This place hums with echoes of the thundering waterfalls, of the human stories which have taken place between the walls of granite, of the nightmares and dreams forged amongst these mountains. The weather has settled, the water is completely still, and yet I still don't think I'll sleep entirely peacefully tonight. There are too many whispers in the air. I literally just got up and I looked out the porthole, and at first I was like blinded. It seemed like the whole world was white, but there's this mist on the water and the sun filtering through it, and it just gives this sort of like diffusion filter to the entire scene. It's amazing. And it's also really amazing, you know, when we came in here yesterday, the wind was blowing so much that that's kind of all we could hear, but now it's just perfectly calm. And all we hear is the birds in the trees and the waterfall across the way. So last night on the beach, when the wind had sort of calmed down, we all were like, is that a big plane? Like, what is that sound? And then we sort of realized it's the waterfall. We could finally hear it. The journey continues now. We press on and the mountains continue to grow, the unmelted snow proving their altitude. The plan for the night is to anchor as close to the end of the inlet as possible, without actually being at the end of the inlet. With the strength of the inflows, we wouldn't want to be anchored right in their path. So the best looking option seems to be this little bay where the Sim River meets the inlet. We'll head there and hope for a decently protected anchorage.
That is absolutely bizarre. We're in hundreds of meters of water. There's no way that's touching the ground, but it looks so solid, like it's attached to the bottom. Like it must just be attached to a submerged log. I don't know. That's really bizarre. I haven't seen something like that before.
No bobbing, nothing.
No grizzlies. But there is a cabin.
Is there?
Well, we're about to arrive home. Vashilas Bay, also estuary of the Sim River, yes.
Okay.
This is where we plan on tucking in.
Not too bad, hey?
A view.
Spectacular.
Bit of swell coming in. We'll see. Maybe if we tuck in on the southern wall. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna jibe here.
Okay.
There is some swell coming into the anchorage, so we stern tied at a bit of an angle in order to face into the swell. The Sim River has a little cabin, long since abandoned. I'm not sure its story, but it certainly makes the whole place seem a little creepier than it otherwise might. That, and the long Spanish moss hanging like cobwebs from the trees, meant that I didn't stray too far. What can I say about this place, really? I mean, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this video is already a complete set of novels, and I can't say anything that would add to the grandeur, the silence, the power of this place. It is complete. It exists with or without us. We feel lucky to be able to slip into its midst just for a short time, to witness the magic it holds in its peaks and canyons. The very end of the inlet is close now, just around the corner. But that part of the story will have to wait for the next episode. Next Friday, we'll take you the final small step to the end of the inlet before beginning the possibly bigger part of this voyage, the long battle to release ourselves from Night Inlet's grasp. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. I think, as you can tell, I have absolutely loved making all of these episodes this summer, and the Night Inlet episode in particular, or episodes, I should say, plural, have been some of my favorites to make. The scenery in this inlet really is unparalleled, and the feeling of being here is unlike any other feeling that I think I've ever had on a boat. Just the feeling of sheer awe and an adventure and beauty, and it's really magical. A huge thank you for making these episodes possible. A big thank you to our patrons for ensuring that these episodes continue to be ad-free. A very big thanks to the folks whose names are now appearing on screen for always going above and beyond to make sure that these episodes keep being produced. We're really proud to be audience funded. It is something that we hold very dear, and to be able to just make these episodes describing the beauty of the places around us without having to stop to read an ad to you guys is something that I am so happy that we get to do, and that is directly thanks to audience support. If you would like to join Patreon for as little as $2 a month, it is entirely up to you how you decide to donate, but we do provide real-time updates on Patreon every week. So if you're curious what we're up to in real time, since these episodes are always delayed by several weeks or months, depending on the production schedule, then you can check that out on Patreon. We are very grateful. All right, I think that's all for now. Next week, we return to Night Inlet, and it's very interesting what a different experience one can have in the exact same place, depending on how the elements work either with you or against you. See you next week.